All right, ChroNoSo listeners, we're here with Steve Bennett, myself, in the middle of the episode, but we are here on YouTube for the solo edition here on YouTube. Steve Bennett is with me. Steve, what's going on, dude?
Hey, now, what's up? I had to wear my nice hat, my nice shirt now that you guys are like one step below Mr. Beast on the YouTube with all these subscriptions. So I wanted to, look nice. And it's been a while since I've been on. I mean, my show got canceled. 3x5 got canceled. And I haven't been on a video. I don't know when the last time I was on a video. So I want to bring my A game today, Ryan. I'm going to let you lead the way, and I'm just going to show you I can be a big player on this team still.
So Steve, it's funny that you say that. You haven't been on in a while. We got this new feature, StreamYard, which takes away 15 pounds. So luckily, nice. you're the first guy to use it. So
yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. I'm working on not being such a fat fuck. So
yeah,
next time you see me, you'll have the 30-pound thing on StreamYard.
All right. Well, hopefully it's not that long, but you got the daddy-daughter dance coming up, and I'm sure you're looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to you going on that journey, and I'm here by your side. But you're here on my side as we go Haku versus the British Bulldog from the October 1990 MSG. Steve, question to you right away. Is this Haku's best match ever, singles?
He really brought it. I thought both guys brought it. This is Davey Boy's first time at MSG in 2 years. And I thought both guys really looked fresh and game. And this is one of those matches you watch and it's from 1990 and you believe that. But as you watch it, you forget it's from 1990 and you start to think, is this from a later time? One of those sort of hidden gems in the MSG catalog that feels like it's a down south type of match then or something, just has a different energy than the rest of the stuff around it on this night. So I'm really excited to talk more about it. And certainly Haku is a big part of that and Davey as well.
Well, yeah, it takes two to tango, especially when you go at that accelerated power pace. That's how I looked at it. This is an accelerated power match, which is really unique. And it started with a great presentation. You had Haku in the ring and Alfred Hayes here awesomely with the microphone from MSG or whatnot. And he says it's an open challenge or whatever, like an open contract or whatever. And the Bulldog signed it. And the Bulldog, man, looking like $1 million, gets an absolute thunderous pops. His hair was not this long when he left, right?
No, he still had the short hair then.
Yeah.
And I do like that look better. I always, even as a kid, I was like, what the hell is he doing with his hair? But it worked for him. And it coming back, I think it was loud and announced him in a way. Said like, hey, I've been gone, but look, I'm back. I'm growing my hair. I got this great physique. I don't know where Dynamite is, but he's not here. It's just me, and I came to get this son of a bitch that stole my dog a few years ago. We still got unfinished business.
Yeah.
And
WrestleMania 4 heat.
Yeah. It's Bobby got us at WrestleMania 4. Davey didn't feel like he got his whole comeuppance for them stealing his dog, and he's back from Leeds to show him.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's a unique thing. Like he's got this new hair. He's got this thicker physique. On the screen here, it says 240 pounds. My ass, right?
Looking about 265, 270, I would say.
There's a lot of water weight in those muscles, right? So it's great. And I like this right here, right off the rip. Haku, the bad guy, Heaton family, so on and so forth, showing his respect to Davey Boy. Gives him a nice, like, my old foe. Let's go out here and have a great match. And honestly, I posed the question to you, is this Haku's best match? I bet you Haku wanted to go out there and make sure Davey Boy was presented on the grand stage in a big, big way.
Yeah, and you always hear the stories about what a badass he is and how tough he was outside the ring. And I think part of him is probably excited. Like, here's a guy, certainly in terms of his physique, he's a big, strong guy. We can go pretty stiff here. We can roll around like sometimes I got to do in the bars when I got to save the boys or whatever, and I feel like he's ready. He's like, this is the way I want to play the game. It's like Connor McDavid lining up for the opening faceoff and Sidney Crosby's across the way. And he's like, okay.
What they say, if you're in there with your buddy, you can hit him hard and ask for forgiveness later.
Yep.
That type of mentality, right? So they showed a lot of respect, and they got the opening thing. It's slow paced. Shows Heenan here barking, which will play into the finish too. So even on these MSGs, it's like a through line throughout, right? It was like they're Heenan complaining to the referee right away. And then I was like, when I went back and reflected on these pictures, I was like, oh, that I don't want to give it away, Steve, but that's kind of a through line where Heenan kind of complains the whole time. But again, that's a through line through his whole WWF run. But still, even playing into it here at Madison Square Garden.
I remember like around 2005 or 2006, they started airing this show on the MSG network called MSG Classics.
Yeah.
And it was matches, evenings at the Garden, like maybe like an hour worth of the show. It was probably like an hour and a half show with commercials. And I just always remember watching these and think, because there wasn't as much archival footage then. You know, I'm seeing a lot of these things for the first time, or the first time since prime time 15 years ago or whatever. So it would always air these matches on prime time. But you know, I always used to love, like, so on this night, it's Heenan and Gorilla are
no,
doing
it's Alfred Hayes and Gorilla.
Well, no, it's Heenan and Gorilla all night. And then when Bobby is at the ring, Alfred Hayes is coming in. And
that's funny.
Right. And I really enjoyed this sort of like, okay, here comes Bulldog back, you know, the Englishman. And now here comes Lord Alfred Hayes in, almost like he was there to comment about the Englishman coming back
from his home country.
Yeah. And Gorilla would always sort of talk about, where is he from? Is he from Leeds? Is he from Manchester? Lord Alfred Hayes, I mean. And I think that was sort of just ribbing. I think he knew exactly where he was from, but he would mention, you know, different cities all the time with Lord Alfred Hayes. So it just felt like a really cool part of this. We got Davey Boy back. Bobby's in the ring being Bobby. Absolutely on fire as a manager here. And you got Gorilla and Lord Alfred Hayes at the desk. And it feels like an MSG classic, like they used to air in 2005-ish.
That's a really cool story, Steve. But even so here, like the layout of this match, it was powerful. I'm just going to show a few stills. It was powerful, but it was like still in 1990 where they would have their rest holds and whatnot. Yeah. That was kind of a part of it. But I'm talking about like the acceleration. When they would hit the gas, it just looked and felt different, right? Like look at this atomic drop right here, right? And all the transition moves were so powerful, impactful, and it was just really something sweet. Like it was cool to see in modern goggles 35 years later, right?
Yeah, and there's something about Davey that I've always admired. Like, I was a big British Bulldogs fan. I was writing the letters when Matilda was gone, you know, hoping that she'd return safely. But I think about the WrestleMania 3 match because all I think about for almost 40 years now is WrestleMania 3. But there's that moment when they're kicking Danny Davis's ass, and it's really vintage Davey Boy. The kind of the way he moves in the ring, and the way he has the speed and power combination that almost nobody else had at the time, and the way he does drop kicks and body slams and suplexes. There's just a speed and a power to them that was really unique to him at the time, and I think you see that even here a couple years later. You know, it's like if you're a baseball fan, you know how Ken Griffey Jr. stood to swing the bat, or, you know, Julio Franco. You know, remember there's that guy, I think he's got great videos online. All he does is imitate batting stances. I think wrestlers are like that too. Sometimes you can see their style and the way they approach the matches. And I always loved Davey's style. And in that one clip, if you go back a couple, stills on, if you can go back one more, I think. Yeah, right. No, one more. He's getting beat up on that one. Right here. That's like what he looks like to me in my head. Like the way he moves, and the way his white pants and the Union Jack on the back. And I don't know, it's just really vintage Davey here. And man, he was so good when he was at his best.
And it's funny, we look at the picture here, right? Haku barely hit the ropes, and he's already at his chin for a drop kick. That's how sudden, and I guess sudden and aggressive is like is the two adjectives you want to use here, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a really unique match, and Haku bumped his ass off, and Haku was in places, every place he needed to be for Davey's offense this whole time, right? Who is this guy, by the way, right? Like, look at this creep. You trust this guy or what?
No, I wouldn't trust that guy. Where's the guy who did the he's always bragging that he set up the Mandy Coffin match. Why isn't he down there taking pictures?
Oh,
Apter.
Bill Apter. Yeah, I know, right? It was funny because even back to this guy, Gorilla was like, "Oh, this Japanese fella taking photos."
He looks like the guy that gave Jim Florentine tickets if he'd sit on his lap at the Garden. If you don't know that Jim Florentine story, search Jim Florentine MSG tickets. Hilarious story about his run-in with the photographer there. But yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Haku. I've talked a lot about Davey, but you know, he's the WWF probably didn't get the most out of him. You know, there probably is some better matches in Haku that we've seen.
He's just probably a gatekeeper. But funny, this is a house show, right? So they were just like, MSG, you're going to go out there and get Roddy Piper ready because he's going through the Heenan family. So you're allowed 4 minutes, right? You're the first step. You gotta go out there, and whoever we're feuding with, Haku is the gatekeeper to the Heenan family to get to Rude, to get to Andre, to get to Perfect, guys like that, right? So it's just that he found himself in that role, and I guess when he's dumped in 85 as King Tonga, he's presented has like a force, but he's really oddly presented as a babyface. So
maybe he didn't quite have the personality to take it to the next
level. That's what I was just going to kind of get to, right?
Yeah, but he certainly had the ability in the ring, and you definitely see it in this match.
Look at the strength here. If what do you think Haku is? At least 240, at least 250, right?
Oh yeah.
All of it. And Davey Boy's picking him up like a cruiserweight, making him look absolutely phenomenal. And then we got double Naga knocker here for the transition. This was cute too. Heenan, of course, I have a few clips here with Heenan cheating throughout, right? As a through line.
Yeah.
And here he is giving here we got the sharpshooter from Davey Boy, and Heenan giving him the ropes, right? So
just healing, just great heel manager activity and chaos outside the ring with Bobby. And as a kid, I would always, when the matches would start, someone like Davey, who I love, would come out, and I'd see his opponent is Haku and Bobby or Jimmy or Fuji out there. It's like, oh man, he's got to wrestle both of these guys tonight.
Yep.
And
you got to watch behind your back as you hit the ropes, watch behind your back if the rep goes down, so on and so forth. It was like a different psychology, right? Nowadays, right? So that added layer was always
they miss it. I think they missed that part of it. I think it just adds a little something to the overall presentation. Like, I guess even in a modern sense, like when I know this is now a bunch of years ago, but when Rusev was really big, with right Lana, around the time the network launch with Lana, like she had that sort of heel manager kind of edge brought back in a, more of a valet way than a Bobby.
And she got over huge.
Yeah, she got over huge. I think that can still work if they want to do it at some point. Obviously it's worked with Heyman all along he's been a big part of Reigns' ascent to true like superstar. So I don't see why it couldn't work more. But yeah, again, the power and the speed between both guys here is what nobody else on this card truly has. They might have the power, they might have the speed, but these guys have them both, and they're both great athletes. Look at the height on that.
Yep. And he just hit the rope. So this is when he hit the rope and he stops himself, right, to kind of catch himself for the transition. And this is leading into the finish, actually. So this is the last power spot that Haku gained the advantage, right? And then he was kind of going for something, and Davey Boy caught himself. And Haku is literally at 9 and at 3 with his body, and his ass is at 6, and he's falling down, and he's going to take this back bump. Then his ass is over the middle rope at this angle, and his head and toes are well above the top rope. So he really is impressive. All of 5.5, 6 feet in the air. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, really.
And then another one here, another backdrop too. Those things gotta hurt. And then we get this vertical suplex here as we get to the final step, and then boom, we get him up on his shoulder like he's a cruiserweight for the final near running power slam for his finishing move, and then boom, the Davey Boy Smith is your winner. Steve, this is an excellent match, but why? Yeah. Before I kind of throw to you for one last final thing, what is your overall thoughts on this match? It's excellent. It's great. It's 3.5, maybe to 4 to me. It's truly great.
A few things on these MSG cards. I know it's a great match when Gorilla's all in, right? Because sometimes Gorilla on these nights, especially when he's with Gene, could get a little lost in his own antics. Maybe a little bored with some of the curtain jerk type style matches they'd have at the beginning of these cards. But there'd be these matches where you get pay-per-view Gorilla, and I felt like it was like that here. Like he got all the way into this and really was great on commentary. Like I said, I thought both guys worked really hard, showed off their strengths. They kept the match going. Yeah, there's a rest hold or two, but never for quite too long to where I started looking at my phone or doing something different. Really kept me engaged the whole time. And again, I've been gone for 2 years, but I'm back. And I'm back in a loud way. And what you remember about me, whether it's the running power slam or the trunks or whatever, that's still here. But besides that, I got these dreads now. I got this body now. Dynamite ain't here anymore. And I'm serious. And, you know, he took it all the way to Wembley, right? So, and if it wasn't for some of his demons, maybe he would have taken it farther. But I really love this. It's, when you think about the televised MSG shows that ran from, you know, 84 to whenever they stopped in 91 or 92, 93, whatever it was. This is one of those, if you're making a greatest hits DVD of those, I think it's definitely on there.
What did you think of the British Bulldog name opposed to Davey Boy Smith? Because when he comes, he's the British Bulldog now. He's not, he's not Davey Boy Snick from the British Bulldogs.
Right.
He's the British Bulldog.
I think it depends how old you are in a way. You know, to me, he was always Davey Boy.
Yeah.
You know, because I first enjoyed him when he was with the British Bulldogs. I always like to mention my buddy Calvin when I can in a ChroNoSo video, who was a big fan of Davey, and especially his WrestleMania 7 match with Warlord. He got more into him in the singles Davey Boy era. So for him, he was the British Bulldog. He would say, oh, the British Bulldog. I would say Davey Boy. So I think it maybe depends how old you are, but that's classic Vince McMahon, right? You know,
and this is when Ricky was the Dragon.
Yeah, yeah. You got to rename it and, you know, whatever. And it's not long after this at the Garden, we have the Dragon and the British Bulldog, and who was the third guy on that team. And it's a great 6-man tag to start WrestleMania 6 or SummerSlam 91.
It was against the Warlord and Power and Glory.
Who's the third guy? I don't know why I can't remember.
Was it Tito?
Yeah, it might have been Tito.
Yeah. So
everyone who is screaming at saying, why can't these dopes remember? I'll get a text. I'll get a text from Hollywood Dave on that.
No doubt.
And I'm slipping. You know what's interesting about this? I want to get it in real quick. So this show is on October 19th, 1990. Now, I didn't see this show that day. No way. But I know exactly what I did on October 19th, 1990, because October 19th is my mom's birthday. Okay. And October 19th, 1989 was her 30th birthday.
Okay.
And so the year before. And my evil stepfather had a surprise party for her at this really nice restaurant in downtown Buffalo that I always ate their Clams Casino. And then my mom would say, that's all you can eat because that's too expensive already. But this really nice restaurant, and she got too drunk and she fell out and hit her head on the bar. You know, the bars have like those brass pulls, and she's going to hate that I told this story, but she got too drunk at her 30th birthday and she fell out, she hit her head, and she had to go out in the ambulance and everything and get checked out. The next year is this night. And for weeks up to her birthday, everyone was just on her ass. Like, we're going to plan your birthday, but, you know, we got to go somewhere safer. You know, there's not going to be any metal bars anywhere. You know, you have to drink soda. And I remember we went to, people now, there's like the Texas Roadhouse. Well, back in the day, there was this place called the Buffalo Roadhouse, or just the Roadhouse. And it was the same idea. And you could throw the peanut shells on the ground and everything. And we were like, yeah, it's safe here as long as she doesn't fall in the peanuts. But I remember exactly where I was this day. And I like going through these sometimes because
it's something
like that comes up. You know, I can remember maybe watching the match, especially with the pay-per-views, or I can remember certain nights. And I remember that night. And then a couple years later, on my mom's birthday, 1993, Versus came out. And we were out to dinner with her, and I bitched the whole night that I needed to get to the record store to buy Versus. And then the next day, I guess she told my dad that I was complaining the whole night at her birthday to go get the new Pearl Jam record, and he whooped my ass the next day. Not necessarily physically, just he was all over my shit. So
for making it about you on her birthday.
Yeah, I got in trouble. I got in a lot of trouble. Probably the most trouble I ever got in with my dad. But yeah, so this is really fun. I really enjoyed this. Hopefully people who are listening on the podcast weren't lost. Hopefully we weren't too visual, but you can always go to YouTube. I'm sure you'll find it right away now that they have, was it 1 million you hit? 1 million this week? So you should be able to find the page.
Only 1,000.
When do you get the plaque? Who gets the plaque? You or Justin?
You don't get a plaque for 1,000, buddy.
Oh, you don't get a plaque? All right.
So
if there was, hypothetically, who would get the plaque?
I don't know. I think
you should. I'm just gonna say I love Justin. I think you should get the plaque. That's all I'm doing. I do love Justin, but anyway, we're off the rails. Yeah, we're off the rails.
we'd give it to Johnny C probably, right? So
Okay, fair enough.
I just tried to think of a random name, but anyways, yeah, man, this is what I want you guys to do is go to YouTube in the comments and let us know if this is Haku's best singles match of all time. Because I'm actually curious.
Really
I legit think this is the best singles match that I can think of right now.
I would love in the comments, does anyone else know where they were on October 19th, 1990 for any reason?
I highly
am I the only person that remembers that? Well, but maybe it was someone's, the day they lost their first tooth, or I don't know, some other marker in the sand.
I have no idea when I lost my first tooth, Steve, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think I know either. But my point is that maybe there's some other reason you know what day it was.
No doubt.
I have a weird memory. I can remember anything from like 1985 to 2015 in pretty great detail. And I don't know what happened in 2015, but from 2015 to now, I can barely remember 6 minutes ago. But I remember October 19th, 1990, and 89 and 93. I think those are
ones I remember. When we get to the King of the Ring 93, you're going to have to come on and tell us about 93.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that day. And October 20th. October 20th was a rude awakening for me.
All right, guys, on to the next one. This is it for MSG. So if you haven't, I should be saying this a lot more often. If you want to check the rest of the episode, guys, go on audio and check it out. Steve, it was fun to have you on. And let's not wait so long until the 30-pound filter is out.
Can I say something for the audio listeners to close this out?
Go for it.
Ryan, ring the bell.